Yo. This is the Outspoken Podcast.
So last week we spoke about human body. This week we'll be talking about nutrients, the language of the body. So what are nutrients? Nutrients are substances that organisms use to survive, to grow, and to reproduce. Now, nutrients provides nourishment and they are primarily gotten from food. These nutrients can be categorized into two groups. The first one is micronutrients. The second one is macronutrients. What are micronutrients? So micronutrients are the kind of nutrients that we human beings can have in our diets in bits. The nutrients they're really, really small. We only need little of these nutrients. For example, we have mineral and vitamins. Then we have macronutrients. Macronutrients are, just like the name, macro, are nutrients that are required by the body in larger quantities, but not so much, just enough. Example of these are fat, fiber, carbohydrate, protein, and water. Those are the 5 kinds of macronutrients. So it is required that we all have bits of these nutrients in our food every day. And we can achieve this by just basically combining different foods together, like not just eating plain rice and stew. You can mix it, spice it up with eating rice, stew with a little bit of carrot, a little bit of green pea or green beans, just spicing things up so that it's not as boring as just eating rice and stew. And something that scientists came about is eating colorful food is more healthy than eating just plain food. So colorful food, as in food with different things in it. So you're having maybe corn, yellow, you're having maybe red pepper in it, maybe you're having green beans or green pepper, all of those things, giving it a little bit of spice. That makes your food more healthy than taking it just plain. It gives you more nutrients than taking it just plain. And I mean, the logic there is you get to enjoy different kinds of nutrients from a food with different color compared to when you have just plain greens. Do you understand? So having that mixture is quite really good. And so having spoken about nutrients now that I've gotten from food, what then is food? Obviously, food is food, what we take into our mouth. But not everything that we take into our mouth can be called food. Because as a young person, you probably put every single thing that you saw into your mouth. That did not make it food. So what then is food? Food is any substance that when taken into the body is capable of maintaining growth and development, nourishing and building up tissues, as well as providing needed energy to your body. So that's food. So the food we eat can be from plants and can be from animals. But hold on a second. Why do we eat? Yes, we eat because we are hungry. I know. But scientists has also told us that we can actually survive a couple of days without eating. Sorry, not we. That you can survive a couple of days without eating, because I am not going to try that. But you, on the other hand, can try that. So you can survive a couple of days without necessarily eating. I'm rooting for you. Go days without eating. I'm rooting for you. I got your back. Trust me, I really do. I really do. So why do we eat? We eat because it eliminates hunger. The second one is because it provides energy for various physical activities. That's why you're more active when you've eaten, but you are sometimes slow when you've not eaten. I'm talking to myself. I'm usually slow when I'm hungry. I'm usually slow when I'm hungry. Then it enhances growth. It's a resistance of disease. Food makes one recover from illness. But the weird thing about this particular one, food makes one recover from illness, is you are most times lacking appetite when you are sick. So how are you going to recover from illness when you are not eating? No wonder our mothers are usually like, "Jeon now, so that if you are not Yoruba, that means eat so that you get well." So that's just it. Then food also makes you healthy. So you get, then eating it adequately gives you nourishment, gives you nutrition, vitality, good health, emotional stability. So it's not everybody that you see that is hungry, that is angry, that's actually angry. Sometimes it's just hunger. That's why they say that a hungry man is an angry man. So when you go to meet someone and the person is just angry, all of a sudden you're like, just turn and ask the person, are you hungry? Do you need something to eat? Ask the person, yeah. Do you need something to eat? And then you just see the person telling you, I never chopped today. Oh. Now why are you vexed? Because he hasn't eaten. So what are you expecting? So emotional stability, then enthusiasm for the challenges of life. So eat because you need to face the challenges of life. When you've eaten enough, you have enough energy to face life. So when either of the quantity or the quality of the food is inadequate, we are not eating properly. Therefore, this can cause what? Lack of stamina. So you lack stamina. Then poor physical appearances, tiredness, lack of enthusiasm, high susceptibility to illness and diseases. And you know, the funny thing is, sometimes you see someone who is really slim and then you're thinking the person is not eating. And when you walk up to the person and you're like, Afana, you dey chop? Why are you slim like this? Sometimes people are slim not because they don't eat, but instead, maybe gene or something like that. It could be any other thing outside than eating. Good nutrition makes a lot of difference in the appearance and also in the nutritional being of an individual. So that's why we need to eat, and when we don't eat, that's what happens to us too. Now, there are 5 basic groups of food. We have milk and milk producer food. We have meat group. We have fruits and vegetable group. We have bread and cereal group. Then we have tuber group. While I was mentioning those things, I'm sure that you could picture milk and milk producer, milk, cow, meat group, goat, chicken. Fruit and vegetable, we have cabbage, carrot, lettuce. We have bread and cereal group. We have bread. Everybody eats bread. Then we have tuber, yam, cassava, potato. You feel me? So now the classes of food. We have various classes of food, and in secondary school we had this song that we used to sing. I don't know if it has a beginning, but then we have carbohydrate and protein, fat and oil and vitamin, mineral, salt and water. Everybody probably did not know the beginning or something, but then water, everybody always shouted water because everybody knows that is water. Water ends it. So you might probably be hearing from the beginning. So from the beginning, you might be hearing carbohydrate and protein, vitamin, mineral, salt and water. So water is loud because everybody knows water. So now, but for today, we would only be talking about carbohydrates and protein. So what are carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are called energy-giving food because 60% of the energy that is used by our body is derived from carbohydrates. So carbohydrates alone provides us with 65% of the energy that we use to run our body. So, and our body really needs energy because just like we spoke about last week, that carbohydrate is like a fuel to the body. You feel me? Just like fuel is to gen, carbohydrate is to human body. So carbohydrate has a lot of starch and provides the body with glucose. And this glucose then converted to energy to support the body to function properly. The human body requires energy to run several voluntary processes and involuntary processes. Involuntary as in breathing, your blood pressure, your body temperature, blood circulation, all of those involuntary processes, and then voluntary processes like walking, jumping, dancing. A fair amount of energy is required to maintain the body's metabolism, and the heat generated is used to keep the body warm. I think I generate a whole lot of heat because my body is usually warm, so much that when people probably hold my hand, say like, "Oh, your hand is really warm," and I'm like, "Yes, I know." Or sometimes before they even say it, I'm like, "My hand is warm," and they're like, "Yes, why?" I don't know. I guess now we know, because my body is generating a lot of heat to keep my body warm. But the funny thing now is I'm usually cold. So where? Okay, let's stick to the script. Let's stick to the script. So carbohydrates are needed in larger amounts by the body because they are macronutrients. They are the body's main source of fuel. I just said that. For the brain, kidney, central system, muscle to function properly, they need carbohydrates. These carbohydrates are usually stored in the muscle and in the liver, where they are later used for energy. Carbohydrates come in different varieties and forms. A high quantity of carbohydrate is found in yam, bread, corn, rice, potato, fiber, sugar, and so on. And also in other foods like vegetables, beans. Seeds also contains carbohydrates, but in lesser amounts. Now we have classifications of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, based on the number of sugar units, are classified into 3 groups. Monosaccharides and disaccharides are referred to as simple sugar or simple carbohydrates that our body can easily break down, can easily absorb and utilized. Examples like sugar, honey, sweet fruits, and sugarcane. Then polysaccharides are complex carbohydrates because they need to be broken down into simple sugar to be used by our body, unlike the disaccharides and monosaccharides. So now we are done with carbohydrates. Now let's move to protein. So protein has so many roles that it does to our body, because the truth is, every human being, regardless of our age, we need bodybuilding food because our body continually breaks down our tissues, old tissues, and when it breaks down old tissues, new tissues need to be made, needs to be built up. How does the body build up new tissues when there are no body building food? That's the role of your protein, to help you repair worn out tissues and to help you build new ones. You feel me? So that's why it's very, very important that you have proteins, and so that those proteins can provide you with the adequate amounts that your body needs. Protein makes the construction of the body, starting from the bone to the skin to the hair to the muscle. Every fraction of your body contains protein. You feel me? So also, protein is required for body growth, maintenance, and health, to aid the body to develop hormones, antibiotics, and other important components. Also requires protein. So protein is really important to the body. Protein is made up of different components of amino acid. 16% of the body weight is dependent on protein. So that's why it's very important that a good percentage of protein is present in every meal that you take. And protein also helps your body to function properly. About 10 to 35% of calories should come from your protein. Proteins are needed in our diet to grow and to improve our immune function. Proteins also play an important role in making essential hormones and enzymes in tissue repair, in preserving lean muscle mass, and also supplying energy in times when carbohydrates are not available. So when you've used up all your fuel, the fuel is finished, protein now kicks in and helps out till you have more carbohydrates to go on for the day. So imagine you lack both carbohydrates and protein. What happens? So you see why they are important, because in a case where carbohydrate is not present in your body again, protein kicks in. You feel me? So what are the sources of protein? The main sources of protein are meat, chicken, eggs, breast milk, beans, groundnut, fish, cheese, and milk. All animal foods contains more protein than that of plants, and therefore they are usually better source of body building foods. However, even though plants are not as good not as good for bodybuilding food compared to animals, it is more effective when you mix both your plants. When you mix both your plant protein and your meat animal protein together. So that's all for protein as well. So next week we'll talk about other classes of food. And while I leave you with the things that I've left you with the knowledge I've left you with, please go into your week and not just eat anyhow. Do not just eat too much. Do not just eat too little, but try to make it all balanced. So you feel me? So you know carbohydrate already. You need enough carbohydrate. You also need enough protein. So look at your macronutrients, the ones you need in larger quantities, not in excess quantity now, in large quantity, just enough, and the ones that you need in lesser quantity, just enough. So you do understand. So that's all for today, guys, and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Outspoken Podcast.